Next, we have our first panel of this segment, which is crypto finance, brought to you by ZV Chain. This is blockchain payments. What's that adoption right now? Blockchain and token-related payments were created with the expectations of disrupting incumbent payment solutions. We would now like to ask the panelists about the latest progress and rate of adoption happening so far, including how to drive further uptake in these payment solutions. If you have any questions for the panel, please go to slido.com, enter the code BlockShow2019 on into the website, select stage 1, scan the QR code that will appear on the screen, and simply write down your question. This next panel is moderated by Eric BENZ, featuring panelists Meg Nakamura, TOBY HOENISCH, Bobby Bao, and our most recent speaker, Dr. CIPRIAN PUNGILA. Please welcome the panelists on stage. Thank you.
Hello. We are here, the second day of Block Show, and just want to say thank you so much to the organizers for putting on this great conference. I think they deserve a round of applause. How about that? Huh? Come on. I know it's the second day. Come on. Cool. Well, I'm joined by some fantastic thought leaders and entrepreneurs, and thank you, Doctor. Welcome back to the stage. It's been a long time, huh?
Yes, it's been, right?
Cool. So like I said, I'm here with some fantastic thought leaders and entrepreneurs. I want them to give some background about what they do. I'm Eric BENZ, CEO of Changelly, and I've been in the space for about 7 or 8 years now. I've seen so much growth, so much maturation. What was once very nascent and scary has now become somewhat more mainstream and matured. There's been a huge progression and a nice growth that I like seeing. Now, instead of seeing scammy ICO projects at the conference, we're seeing real products and real people that are doing real things. And I want to talk about that a little more throughout the panel. This is going to be very informal. We're going to do a Q&A session after. But at this moment in time, I'm going to get the panelists to introduce themselves and tell them about their business a little bit.
Hello, everyone, again. I think you already know me. My name is CIPRIAN PUNGILA, and I am the co-founder and head of research at the ABEY Foundation, which stands for Advanced Blockchain for Enhanced Yields, and also a senior lecturer at the Western University of Timisoara Faculty of Mathematics and Computer Science.
Hey everyone, my name is TOBY HOENISCH. I'm the CEO and co-founder at TenX. We are focused on making cryptocurrencies very easy to use. We're best known for having a TenX card, allows you to spend cryptocurrencies for day-to-day purchases.
Hi everyone, my name's Meg. I'm one of the co-founders of Apto Payments. We were formerly known as Shift. Back in the day, we had a card called the Shift card. Now we're in the white labeling business. We're focused on powering other card programs on Visa and MasterCard. Earlier this year, we launched the Coinbase debit card in Europe. And my co-founder and I were very much big believers in cryptocurrencies, and it's a big part of our business.
Hi everyone, my name is Bobby. I'm a co-founder and a head of corporate development at Crypto.com. We co-founded a company in 2016. Right now we have more than 200 people in our company. We're headquartered in Hong Kong. I think you guys can think of us as a bank for cryptocurrency users. We have a fair crypto wallet where people can buy cryptocurrency at the true cost. We have a Visa card where you can spend a cryptocurrency anywhere Visa accepted, and meanwhile enjoy up to 5% cryptocurrency cashback. We also offer user collateral lending and saving products. And meanwhile, we also have the best experience to offer crypto payment in QR code, and meanwhile offer up to 10% cryptocurrency cashback. I think in the coming future, we will continue to work really hard for the cryptocurrency community to offer more incentive for people to use cryptocurrency in payment, and meanwhile, build an improved app in terms of the user experience. And recently, we launched our exchange business, and we will continue to offer the user the best user experience and give them more incentive to use our exchange business for all the community.
Thank you so much. That's really, really insightful. I'm going to go a little off topic here. I know I sent you guys some questions beforehand, but I kind of want to make it a little more informal. And I've been in the payment space for nearly over a decade now, and especially with working in starting one of the first crypto payments companies, which was GoCoin years ago. I've really seen a lot of well, let's just see. I've seen a lot of good things and I've seen a lot of bad things when it comes down to crypto payments. And I kind of kick myself in the face sometimes when I think about how much Bitcoin I spent previously. Now, is spending crypto a good thing, or is it something we need to hodl and keep? But people have this connotation, I think, where they don't want to spend their Bitcoins. They don't want to use their Bitcoins. Is there something that they really need to do with it? Or am I just going to wake up and accept the 3% and make my life easy and use my bank cards? I just wanted to get your guys' understanding of why having a crypto card or a crypto payment method is advantageous to the everyday consumer. Maybe, Meg, you want to take this one?
Happy to start, but I was actually going to defer to both the gentlemen on my right and left. To the extent they're closer to the end user, I'm happy to go afterwards, but I feel like we're a step removed from the
Toby?
I can give a stab at it. For us, when we started, and you've been in the industry for quite a while as well, there were like two worlds back then, and it was really hard to go from the world where you had your income, your salary, and like your normal bank account into the crypto world. And what these crypto cards do, such as the TenX card, is allows you to seamlessly use them in day-to-day. It makes it real. And what back then for us, before we started, was a prediction that cryptocurrencies can actually be currencies that you can use. But today we know from the data that more than 60% of the transactions we see on our card are actually for day-to-day purchases. So it's not just jewelry and cars or like big ticket items. It's really groceries, it's restaurants, it's people using them for day-to-day purchases.
I guess my question is, why would they use crypto for day-to-day purchases? I mean, we're obviously promoting it. I've been saying it for years and years. Spend Bitcoin, use it, buy Bitcoin so you can then spend it somewhere else. But what's the reasoning behind that? Why would we need to do it? I mean, I could think of one reason to where, if I'm in a market or if I'm let's say I'm not in the West, I'm in an emerging economy, and the amount of friction I have in terms of actually using money is there. So actually using crypto or Bitcoin or whatever allows me to enter the financial ecosystem, be my own bank, send money to whoever I need to. But I'm just trying to understand why I would need a crypto card. Bobby, maybe you can help me. Why do I need a crypto card in order to buy a coffee?
I think you can. Our company philosophy is trying to build a cryptocurrency ecosystem, right? So you can see in the beginning we building the card because virtual currency, right? People need to see the real physical card. They can feel it. That's why in the beginning, so my partner Chris and I trying to, create a metal card for it because people can really feel it and feel this is the Bitcoin is something real. You can use it. And with the mass adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, you can see people in the future, card, right, is just one way of spending crypto. QR code can be another way spending crypto, right? Then with the changing demands of the cryptocurrency, we are essentially giving people more choice in the payment space. But answer your question, right? In the beginning, I feel like our philosophy is trying to let people feel and touch cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I like that. It's the tangible. Toby, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. And as a question back to you, for your own business, you see a lot of the investment use case. And from the question that you ask is that there's a lot of people holding cryptocurrencies as an investment asset. But if you take that point, then I think there's a fundamental question of why should it be valuable? And I think once you go there, then payments make sense. It's because we're building an ecosystem of like open finance, of like all kinds of different services. And payments is one of those, but you could have different reasons for being like for those services. Investments and then payments is maybe one, but there's all kinds of DIY finance happening where people do like DeFi and like there's a lot of stuff happening that you can now combine with payments. So I wouldn't look at it just as, let's say, investment and payments. It's payments is one part of our industry that's really important.
Absolutely.
But maybe to ask you the question, why do people convert from one crypto to another? And maybe you can share some of your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's very obvious. I mean, the market instability or the fluctuation makes people always want to change, and they get uncertain in terms of, oh, should I hold Bitcoin or should I hold Ether or should I move into XRP? So obviously we provide a phenomenal ability for people to obviously move between various different cryptocurrencies. But getting back to my point, I just wanted to say to the audience, you're here witnessing some of the early companies that are building these rails to make this growing ecosystem possible. It might not be as obvious as it is to us on stage here, but this is where it begins, and this is where it's going to go. More and more years go by, the more companies are going to start paying their employees and paying people in crypto, and they're going to need outlets in order to spend it. Right now, it's not as obvious, but you're going to see, and I said this 7 years ago, and here we are now, fast forward, and even fast forwarding 10 years from now, it's going to become very critical to have a way to manage and store and use your crypto, depending on whatever that crypto might be. And these businesses here are providing the ability to actually do that. And I think that that's an awesome thing, and I really support that. So I'm just trying to dig and understand more so that the audience can really appreciate what crypto payments are all about, because I think that it's something that's going to be very big. I've been saying it since day one, and I'm going to continue saying it. It's going to be an absolute essential thing moving forward, right? Doctor, you were speaking before on stage, and now I wanted to ask, what's your overall understanding between the different businesses? Is there a specific blockchain, or is there a specific network that you would promote to be a more advantageous for payments than another?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that it comes to a time to basically touch base with your previous question. It comes to a time when we want to promote the freedom of trade that cryptocurrencies offer. And as part of that freedom of trade, we should also ensure that there is cross-chain operability. I don't think there is one blockchain that can solve all the problems. I think at one point we have to work together and get rid of this Babel Tower type of situation where we are like, all of a sudden speaking all these different languages, but the people don't really understand each other very well. We should get to a point where it's kind of starting to make sense, and it's going to let people be aware of where we're headed to. Because I'm sure that once a lot of the people that are out there that have not heard about the cryptocurrency, about the freedom of trade, about decentralized technology, are going to be understanding the potential of it, they will embrace it. We've embraced it because we understood it at an early stage, but there's still a lot of people out there that haven't. So I don't think there is a universal solution. I think the eventual step for us, the eventual focus is to actually work together to accomplish this. There's no competition in my view.
Meg, you guys have a phenomenal product. It's providing a lot of really interesting solutions for other companies. I think it's a really important way to allow other traditional businesses to potentially, easily launch a crypto payment solution or a crypto card. Do you want to talk more about how you are working with traditional businesses and bringing them into this growing economy?
Sure. So to your prior question also, to sort of bridge the two questions, my co-founder and I got into Bitcoin pretty early on, and to the extent we thought that this had huge possibilities in terms of consumer payments. We wanted to help grow the utility and provide more functionality, just like Toby and Bobby mentioned, right? And so having a physical card whereby you could spend cryptocurrency at any merchant around the world is hugely powerful. You don't have to wait for that merchant network to evolve before you can pay directly in crypto. And so when you ask about the benefit of crypto, to me, I think what Bobby mentioned, saying that he's building a merchant network and then offering 10% back, those are the types of benefits that ultimately get passed down to the consumer. I think the challenge, though, is given where crypto came from or the early stages of crypto, you can only do that if you have strong identity, right? And so if you know the merchant and you know the consumer and you have the right technical capabilities and the right compliance around it, then you can really manage the risk to offer those types of benefits. Right now, our company's focused on sort of bridging the gap and making sure that we can move the industry in that direction and get more consumers comfortable with holding crypto now and still spending it through standard means. And hopefully efforts like Crypto.com and TenX and others will move the merchant network far enough along where at some point the tide turns.
Yeah,
Bobby, you want to add something?
So when you look at a successful tech company in the internet age, right, like PayPal in the US or Alibaba in China, right? So in the beginning of the company, I remember PayPal offered the Visa card for the digital payment. I think Alibaba also offered the Visa card for the digital payment. Like one of the main functions is, to lay a solid foundation, make people feel that the digital payment is trustable and reliable. I think one of the key reasons why we building metal Visa card for cryptocurrency user is let people feel it and trust us, right? Trust using the blockchain payment system, like how those successful tech company did 20 years ago. And also, one of the other reasons, right, we offer such incentives, right? So when you look at the tech company in the US or in China, like Alibaba, Tencent, right, Uber, they offer huge incentive for the user to use their products. I think if we want to make sure the mass adoption of blockchain payment in the next 2 or 3 years, incentive of a product is a must.
That's very well said. One other thing that I'm struggling with as a very basic, run-of-the-mill consumer, I'm an Asda shopper, I don't use a smartphone, I got kids screaming. How do I get involved? Like, what is the thing that's pushing me in order to be involved with crypto, and why should I be concerned about that? I think there's the everyday person here. We still have a gap. There is a bit of a gap to say. I mean, all these things are wonderful. I get it. I get what TenX is. I get what Crypto.com and Shift and Apto do. I get it personally, and pretty much everybody in this room probably gets it. But what about the others? What about them? And how do we bridge that gap? Is there an educational gap right now? Is there something that we can be doing more in order to really, get more people involved or make them more aware of this? This is an open question, so.
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting question, and I want to answer that in with some data that we have done on our own surveys. Is we see about 5 to 15% of different populations in different countries have some form of cryptocurrency, and the question, why do the others not have? And it's actually that there's a huge part that wants to have crypto, but for some reason or another, they don't yet. And what we're trying to do is really address those pain points. And it's often in regards to usability, sometimes fear in understanding. So for us, the focus is really on making cryptocurrencies, payments, really easy, very simple, and secure. On the other side, also working educationally and helping people understand how to secure themselves and really be able to leverage the unique abilities. And maybe there is still another half of the population that are still asking why. But I think just solving these two problems of education and making products that are really easy to use and secure will pretty much get us to mainstream adoption already.
That's a pretty bold statement. Wow. Okay. Any doctor, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, it's interesting. In Europe, about 4% of internet users are estimated to own cryptocurrency. And I think that's been a growing trend ever since 2017 in particular. And I think we should be raising more awareness on how cryptocurrency themselves tend to promote the freedom of trade aspect of things. And I think humanity has always been driven, the society has always been driven by the sheer instinct of financial independence. As long as people understand that part, I think that's what's really going to drive a lot of interest up.
It's funny because payments obviously involves money. And money is a 2,000-3,000-year-old problem. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve that, or at least attempt to solve that with where we're going in crypto payments. You know, the mindset of people is, you know, money is such a delicate subject. And it's very, very difficult to change the consumer mindset in terms of how they use their money, or how they save their money, or who they trust with their money. What are some of the things that need to be done in order to, you know, convince those people that, you know, this is where it is. Your bank is in your phone or is on the blockchain, and your money is your money and nobody else's. How do we go about delivering that and then getting the people to understand that, especially that maybe not the younger generation, but let's say, you know, people our age or even older?
I want to add one thing that is really driving adoption, I think, is choice. If you take traditional money, not cash you can do whatever you want, but like the money we use day-to-day, bank accounts, PayPal, then that digital money is always limited by the services we get from that partner, by that bank. And they're private institutions. They can choose who they work with. They can choose which services they offer. So the choice is limited to what, at that discretion, right? When you think about crypto, holding any cryptocurrency gives you access to pretty much every service. And that choice is also what makes it hard to say it's that single reason that is driving adoption. Because if they don't get it here, they can get it over there or here, or they convert it first and then get somewhere else. And it's this underlying innovation on top of the openness of the industry that is just creating more and more and more choice on all levels, like in terms of money itself, fair trade, payments. There's just more and more coming. And that is something the traditional finance has a very hard time to compete, because they don't have this fundamental interoperability. We take this as granted. When we started the TenX, we had like our first 50 beta users, and we were compatible with, I think we estimated 200 Bitcoin wallets at the time. Now it's thousands. But when Apple Pay that launched in a similar time frame, they were only compatible with Apple Pay. And this is hard. It's like it requires B2B partnerships or government intervention. In crypto, it doesn't require anything. It comes by default.
You're right. I mean, it's basically just a method to solve counterparty interaction. I mean, it's me and you transacting without a counterparty, without a third party in the middle of that, which is great. Bobby, Meg, do you want to add anything?
So I think it's high level speaking, it's more about giving choice to the customer. We're doing blockchain payment essentially because we have the original heart of giving the data identity back to our lovely community customers.
Do you really honestly think, Meg, that this is going to happen soon? Or, I mean, I'm just thinking about the mindset of the everyday traders and the everyday moms and the everyday grandpas and just everyday people, just in all aspects of industry. Will this happen anytime soon?
It is happening. It is happening right now. I mean, I can take one very, very, very good example is what's happening in China is after the chairman, she mentioned the blockchain payment, blockchain technology, right? Even my grandmother is saying, oh, Bobby, you are doing blockchain business. So this is a huge, huge thing, right, in China right now. I feel like after chairman, she mentioned the blockchain technology, and even my grandmother is taking classes on blockchain. So Then now they start to understand this decentralized stuff, right? They want to, somehow get more transparency regarding the payment. And they start to understand, right, what is decentralized technology, what is on-chain payment. So I think people, even at older age, like 50 or 60 years old, as long as they want to study, they can understand, about it.
Meg?
So I'm not going to pretend to know anything about the dynamics in China, but with respect to the US, the old adage is a startup has to be 10x better than anything else to attract users, right? The value prop on traditional cryptocurrencies, I'm the first one to say, is tough right now. For a US person to buy Bitcoin, to then spend that Bitcoin, there's nothing making that experience 10x better than getting US dollars out of the ATM, right? So, but the thing that I am excited about is the movement towards US dollar stablecoins. And I do think that taking a step back from crypto and just looking at the fintech scene generally, one of the things that we've seen that's gone viral over the last year are these high interest earning cash accounts. And so whether it's Wealthfront or Robinhood or a number of these startups or these challenger banks who are offering more interest on cash deposits and basically competing for those savings accounts, I think money will go and flock to areas and services that are providing more interest. And so if there's a benefit to parking your money in a US dollar stablecoin where the perception of where there is a perception of very, very low risk, I think that's a huge potential for mass adoption. If you're signaling free money, people will come, right?
I completely agree.
I want to add something
Sure,
to this.
Doctor.
There is a very good example in the underdeveloped countries world, the African community, where 3 months of crypto payments brought in $10 billion worth of transactions. And at the same time, it also shows that people look at crypto payments as a way to ensure stability, which could otherwise be affected by things like inflation, which we know in underdeveloped communities like the African communities, it's pretty high, and it's only going to get higher. So I think that's also one important step to consider when promoting this aspect.
And are you referring to stablecoins in these countries, or are you referring to cryptocurrencies?
Cryptocurrencies, not stablecoins. A lot of the people in a lot of the African countries have invested their money to avoid the inflationary issues into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, just to make sure that they're willing to get back their investment without losing a lot of it over time.
Okay. I have a few opinions about that, but that's probably for a different panel. Now, what I was going to add as well is that there seems to be a very big confusion, maybe for the new people coming into the ecosystem, the blockchain versus the crypto. Well, it used to be Bitcoin versus blockchain, but then all these altcoins came. So the difference between, your grandma said, she's taking courses on blockchain and all that. I agree. Blockchain is the one. It is what everything is going to run off. It allows what once was siloed to now communicate with each other, and it's a fantastic piece of technology. But is crypto necessary for blockchain to exist? Toby?
Happy to take it.
Yeah.
For me, I have a quite strong opinion on this. I call it programmable money instead of cryptocurrency or stablecoins, because we were soul searching ourselves as well. When we started, we were like, okay, we're a cryptocurrency business, but why? And do we make a bet on just Bitcoin or Ethereum? So we decided to be crypto agnostic. But the fundamental aspects that we believe in is the programmable money aspect, which defines as, okay, it has to be open, because only then do you keep all the aspects of that cryptocurrencies brought. Maybe stablecoins can also continue to bring, with the programmability representing the innovation that we can bring by users having this kind of money. So if a user has Bitcoin, he can leverage any of our services. If it's not a cryptocurrency, but it could be a stablecoin, then he might fall out of that. And as long as he's in that industry, in that ecosystem of programmable money, then we're going to continue to go forward together. And that's what I see is really, really like the opportunity here. So we at TenX do not differentiate as much. We wait for the user to figure out, OK, we want stablecoins. And I agree with Meg. There is a very strong demand for stablecoins today. But as much also for cryptocurrencies for different reasons, such as you mentioned, for example.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think that's really good from the panelists. Do we have any people in the audience who'd like to do a little question answer? Anybody in the audience? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. There we go. Come on here so we can hear you. Come over here. Hold on. They're going to bring you a mic or something. Yeah? Over here. He's looking for you over here. I love the Bitcoin Cash. That's great.
Well, I went to this conference because I can buy the tickets with crypto. I think that's great. In contrast to the CoinMarketCap conference before. But I could not pay with Bitcoin Cash. And it was also not mentioned here in a panel. I think that's important because, as you say, Bitcoin does not make sense anymore to like buy and then spend in the economy in the US. But I think Bitcoin Cash is really working hard on keeping it functional. So I hope you guys also implement it in your services like TenX. I can also not use it there. I hope you change that in the future.
What was your name again?
Mark the Measle. I have a YouTube channel.
Fantastic. I really love this man's question because it brings up a good point. Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin Cash personally. I think that the speed and the performance of Bitcoin Cash is superior. But again, why haven't you added it? Is there a reasoning behind it? I think it's a very valid question. Or will you add it?
Yeah, we're trying to keep any politics out of that question, and we're really just focused on what the users are asking for. And the truth is that today, like most of our users, and we're really focused on new users, on users that are trying to understand the space, are focused on Bitcoin. And then some of them on Ethereum, and then it already has a very small groups. And we're focused on this starting point for most users, where I think some of you, like Bobby and I think you as well, are going a little bit more deeper into like the experts and the masters who want to have access to everything, and we're not so much focused on that.
Fair enough. Next question.
Hello, my name is Pondway. I'm coming from New Orleans, Miami, Silicon Valley, America, and I run a company called Ecotech, and we focus on supply chain applications for the blockchain. And so I'm interested where you see that going. At SF Blockchain Week, you had the head of FedEx talking about the supply chain and the opportunities, not necessarily from the payment platform, but from the blockchain sort of framework. But I'm wondering where you see adoption going as it relates to products in that space, and what role maybe each of your platforms is playing as it relates to supply chain and blockchain payments.
Anybody want to take this? Doctor?
Okay.
Supply chain finance?
Okay.
That's a bit of a different panel, but you could try your best.
That's fine. I think that the blockchain is not the solution to all of our problems. I think that blockchains are very good. They offer very good applications to a lot of use cases, but not all of them. Now, about the supply chain, I'm not really very familiar with the topic myself. But the way I see it, from a programmable standpoint, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be used. It's just a matter of whether it applies to the business use case, whether it makes a significant impact, whether it's worthwhile, and of course, it can be afforded, because that's also an important element here to be considered.
I think the one thing about payments for supply chain is for example, if you get your manufacturers and if you get all the people within that supply chain to be accepting Bitcoin or crypto, you then circumvent the need to actually have invoicing, payments, and money wires. I mean, the amount of money in fees that are paid just in supply chain finance alone will blow your brains. It will be a shocking figure. And we can eliminate that very easily if we figure out the right method using crypto to solve those issues in supply chain finance. Next question.
Hi. I like your cards, the TenX and Monaco card. In what countries can you use your cards?
That's a good question.
I can go
Toby,
first.
Bobby?
Simple question. For us, we're live in Singapore, and travelers from Hong Kong, Thailand, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, and we're right now focused on the launch in Europe.
I think blockchain payment and cryptocurrency is a global business, right? So we have the vision of, shipping cards to everywhere in the world.
But the question is, where are you currently live?
So currently, our program is live in the US. We're going to ship our cards in Europe in January next year, 2020. And we also live in Singapore locally. We have a huge custom base locally here. We also do cross-border shipping from Singapore to many countries in Asia.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, you already asked a question.
Yeah. Do you count citizenship or residency?
So do you have to be a citizen, or is it just residency, or how does it work?
So we are a compliance-driven company, so we take this very seriously. So regarding the specific compliance rule, I think we make it clear on our website.
Or in the terms and conditions and privacy policy, right? Is there any other questions from the audience? No? Great. Okay, well, I want to thank the panelists for a really insightful talk. I think they did a great job answering some questions that they weren't prepared for. And I think it was a very informal talk, but it was great, and I had a nice time doing it. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Block Show, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys, for that great discussion.